Hey guys, thank you for watching, and in today's video I wanted to do an update on roses. Mine did start doing their thing about 3 weeks ago now, and we do have some spent blooms. Here you can see one that's just about to open. There's a few more that are opening, and you can see right in the center there's one that's gone. Here's another one that's past its time. Right next to us here you can see we do have our wild roses or antique roses, whatever you want to call them. You can see here by this bloom that they are a looser petaled variety. They don't have nearly as many petals and they're not packed in as tightly either. Let's see if we can get a better one in the sun. Now these do have a very light fragrance, and what happens most of the time is these are used for rootstock because they are hardy and disease resistant and grow wild. They go through a field and they have tons of these, or harvest them how or wherever they do. I don't know the exact way they do it, but they go through and they take off all the rootstock. They'll dig up a plant and cut it pretty much back to the crown. Then they'll take a new type of rose that they know the variety and the color and how it acts, and they'll graft it onto it. Now grafting is very difficult. I haven't been able to do it yet. You have to take two pieces of plant tissue that you want connected. Some people do it for size control. You can graft onto dwarf varieties and get a smaller plant, or you can graft onto hardier varieties or more disease resistant and get a stronger plant. I've seen them do it a lot with grapes lately, and that's a way they're trying to get better varieties grown in harder places. But back to the main point of the video. I want to show you how to properly deadhead your roses. Now you can see this one here on top is definitely spent. There's not much to look at. You can leave the hips on there, which is what this is called. See how it goes wide like hips? That's a rose hip. It will eventually dry up and it'll fall off on its own. We can speed up the reblooming process, like I said, if you can get a plant to not waste time and energy into producing seeds. It will think that it still has to reproduce. That's the purpose of the plants. So if we can get into its head like that and make it think it still has a job to do, it will try. You can see here, some people will take it back to here. Now that's okay and it will help. Normally, if you leave them on here, they will start to desiccate and dry up if they're not producing seeds, so it'll do it on its own eventually. Like I said, it just takes about a month, so you will push back your bloom or your new set of blooms, and you won't get as many for the season. So if you can do it, it definitely does promote faster, healthier growth. And you don't want to leave dead pieces on your plant because it can introduce fungus and you can lose your plant that way. So it does help in the health of the plant as well. On roses, what you want to do is you want to count the little leaflets on here. You can see these ones have 3. This one too has 3 little leaflets. You want to go down to a bud that has 5. Now 5 is definitely going to produce growth. On some of these newer varieties you can get them out of some of these buds that have 3 here, so you could prune it here depending on the variety. I'm not too up on what varieties do it, so I just do what works for me. You can see if we look down in there, you can see that little tiny bud just starting to form. If it stops moving, you can see where it's dark red. That's going to be the new bud growth. So we take it, and you always, some people say you should, some people say it doesn't matter. If you can, cut it at an angle, that way water doesn't just beat up there and start to rot the end of the growth. You don't want to go down to where the bud is so you don't injure the bud, so I always leave like a 1/4 inch. It will dry up and crisp up. It happens to any cut on a plant. I do want to show you another thing you might want to pay attention to. Here we have this one in a walkway. Now if I were to go down to the fifth or the leaf with 5 growth points on this one here is the good example. You can see it would be right here, and I'm going to do that just to show you. Now the problem with this one, if it stops bouncing, if you see where it is, let me turn so you can get a better view. And I lost it. Okay, it's right there. That is going to grow straight into the walkway because the bud's going to come from here. So on this one, what I think I'm going to do, and you can do this, you cannot do it, it's completely up to you. I'm just going to take it back a little further because it will have about a 6 to 8 inch growth before it does put out a bloom, and I don't want to be cutting myself on these. Like I say, this is mainly a rose cutting garden for me, so I don't have to worry about looks so much. I have to worry about not getting chewed up when I come back here and being able to harvest roses. So I'm going to take it back to here. Now you can see that's, I'd say about, I don't know, almost 8 inches of growth there that I took off. Now for roses, you don't want to chop and drop. That's where most people just go through and trim the plant and throw it on the floor and let it do its natural thing and decompose. With roses, they are very temperamental and you can get fungus that way, especially rust. Rust is, like it sounds, a red mildew that gets on the plant and will kill it. So no chop and drop for roses. You want to make sure you pick that stuff up and throw it away, or if you throw it in your compost, make sure it composts all the way. I just throw it away. It's not worth the time and effort or even the risk of ruining my roses. I do like my plants and I want the best for them. I do make compost, but I'm a little picky as to what I put in there. So just make sure you do what works for you. Like I said, this is how reblooming roses should be deadheaded. You always go down to a leaflet that has 5 little leaves on it. So I hope this helps. I hope this shows you how you get more roses faster. Thank you for watching.